jet touchdown. Darnold on a keeper. He's going to run right. Lowers his shoulder. He's in. That's a jet touchdown. Sam Darnold, Jamison Crowder, end zone touchdown. Sam Darnold read it perfectly. Darnold back to throw. A bullet into the end zone for a jet touchdown.
Sam, how do you think you're going to look back at the 2020 season, maybe like 10 years down the line?
You know, obviously a lot of us live, not having any regrets. But obviously we wish it could have gone differently. I think the biggest thing is not winning as many games as we thought we would. And I think all of us in the building, we learned from it. We grew from it, and we understand, what we got to do if we're ever in a situation where we see this happening again, we know how to fix it.
You're never one to make excuses, but a lot of people would be sitting there and saying, here we go again, the offensive line, so many different combinations, the wide receivers not healthy at the beginning of the season. You never looked out and said, well, this is why. You always said, hey, listen, I got to do better.
And obviously there's reasons to, not playing the way I wanted to, and I'm going to look at the tape this offseason and continue to work on the things I need to work on and get better. I can really look back and say we all learned from it, and I grew from it.
Against the Broncos, you look like a Hall of Fame running back on the longest run by a quarterback in Jets history. And then just a few moments later, you're down with a shoulder injury.
The run was super fun. I really haven't done that since high school. So that was really fun to break a run off like that. And then obviously the injury, for me, it derailed might be a harsh word, but in some ways it derailed the season for me. It just kind of set me back. And as a quarterback, you wish to play every single game. And I'm just going to continue to, take really, really good care of my body this offseason and make sure that, stuff like that, as avoidable as possible, doesn't happen again.
You're so competitive. When you're playing Kansas City in week 8 and you take off, do you just forget everything? Is that when the competitive nature of you or a lot of athletes just takes over in the moment?
Yeah, it takes over, but at the same time, I got to be smart in situations like that, understanding that if I have a chance to get the first down, maybe go for it. But at the same time, just at that point in the game, it was about me staying healthy. And I got to, learn from those mistakes and never let them happen again.
You've always said, hey, the only stats that matter are wins and losses, and you didn't get the wins this year. But there are definitely areas where you can point to and say, I've gotten better. Can you talk about those?
I've just continued to experience football. I think anytime you can play games and see different coverages, see different pressures, and see different things like that, I think it always helps. That's what I did this year. I experienced a lot more, and I felt like I had a better understanding of what was going on out there on the field. And it's just about putting everything together and making sure that I'm leading the team down the field and taking care of the football.
There had to be moments, because we can see it, where it's starting to come together.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we obviously got really good skill guys and guys who can make a difference in the blink of an eye. So it's just about putting all the pieces together and making sure that, I do my part in taking care of the football and executing the offense.
What did it mean to you? You're one of the team captains, that this team, 0-13 at the point, went back to Southern California, about an hour north of where you grew up in Inglewood, California. 17-point underdog. I know you guys don't pay attention to that, but the world counting you all out, and you led the squad to a victory.
Yeah, it was awesome to be able to go back home, and obviously I didn't have family in the crowd or any friends there, but it was special for me to be able to go back home and win that football game. Our first one of the year too. It was a special moment.
When we talk about the success you guys have had on opening drives, but not only scoring an opening drive coming out, but you scoring an opening drive in the third quarter. And listen, when you weren't completing passes, you were back there making those quick decisions. I mean, one of the highlights of the year for me when I'm thinking about you was Aaron Donald barreling in on you, and you step out and you get Jamison Crowder free.
The biggest thing that I saw on tape leading up to that game was, Aaron Donald obviously wrecking havoc, not only him, but the other guys on the D-line as well. They have a really good front. I did recognize rushing lanes, so I was able to kind of fill that out throughout the game. And if I wasn't getting the ball out fast, I felt like I had room to scramble, I would. But at the same time, another thing that I've continued to learn throughout the year and throughout my career is understanding when the play's over. Hey, game time, baby. We live for this, man. Live for this moment right here.
You always have said, I'm going to be who I am, and you do that. But how do you go about leading?
For me, it's always been by example. I think just understanding when the right time is to talk, or just let the guys know what we need to do to win the game, or, you know, what the situation is on the field and what we're going to do when we get the ball. Just communicating different things like that, and also being able to vibe with everyone, just be able to hang out and be a normal guy. So I think there's so many different combinations of things that make people good leaders. Like you mentioned, I'm just going to be myself, not worry about anything else.
I think your best football is ahead of you, and I think that's the way you probably think as well, don't you, as far as looking forward? I got to imagine you have a lot of excitement when you start thinking about year 4 and beyond.
I absolutely believe my best football is ahead of me, and years like these, really, these last 3 years motivate me too. You know, I'm going to work just as hard, if not harder, than I've ever worked before this offseason, and I'm going to come back stronger, I promise.
Sam, we appreciate your time as always.
All right, thanks.